Good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy to be here with you this afternoon. Actually, I'm going to be brief and to the point, talking about the current event. Specifically, we are approaching the economic conference after a couple of weeks. And I believe that Egypt is getting ready for this conference. The conference is it's a milestone. It's one of the main stops over the road of development in Egypt. We're not just talking about growth. We are talking about development, because we mean by this that we are targeting a real structural change in the business environment in Egypt. Egypt pronounced its economic orientation, which is market-oriented economy. But the idea is not just to pronounce this, is not just to mention that we are market-oriented economy. There are things should supplement this announcement. Number one is to have the rules and regulations that pave the road for the business to be ready for this. And actually today, or actually tonight in Alexandria, I have an important meeting with some colleagues, some ministers, and the chambers of commerce and the business people in Alexandria at 7 o'clock. So I have to run just after this talk to talk about a revolution not only in the laws but also in the procedures. Because sometimes when we solve the laws problems, we still have, and anybody works for the business might face problems in the procedures and the steps needed for running or applying the laws themselves. So this is number one in economic development when we talk. Number two is when we say that we are market-oriented and we are welcoming all the businesses, whether privately owned or publicly owned, we have to have a sort of inclusion. Inclusion that means that we have to include everybody in, or potentially to be included in the business. And one of the major problems that we used to face in Egypt is that we have a great sector outside the formal sector. So normally the organized businesses face problem when they deal properly, when they obey the rules, when they follow the system. Sometimes they feel that people in the informal sector, they gain more profit. That's why we started some projects to ensure the inclusion. I will give you one example, which is a signal that mentioned by Hisham here when he was talking about the reform in the bread system. I don't believe that anybody could be interested in this by itself, the bread subsidy system or the food subsidy system. But one message is very important to be delivered over here, that what we did in the food subsidy system and bread subsidy system, that we included more than 50,000 outlets in the formal sector. Every one of them has a bank account, which used to be unbelievable in the past, when we used to say that those small shops scattered over the country in 27 governorates, each one of them won't be able to do a transaction, a single transaction by selling a loaf of bread, but to be registered and to be paid through the bank. This happened. I'm not talking about dreams in the future. I am talking about what we achieved from a business perspective. So this means that we are able, we can do this. We can include even those tiny small businesses that scattered and remotely exist over the country. So it's a good message when we talk about the business environment here. Yes, we can formalize more and more. Also, we can talk about making people, the individuals and the poor people in Egypt, aware of their rights and their what they should follow in order to be more organized and more formal.